church apostle, one of the requirements was you had to see the risen Jesus Christ. You had to see him after he was raised from the dead. And so Paul says, man, have I not seen him? You guys remember in Acts chapter 9 on the road to Damascus when it's Saul's going and he's breathing threats, he's looking for Christians to kill, and boom, he's knocked off his high horse and he sees the risen Lord face to face. He's blinded, and you know the rest of the story. He ends up, God gives him a call, and God uses him to pen 2/3 of the New Testament. He says, am I not an apostle? I've seen the risen Christ. And then he says in verse 2, to back that up even more, let me just tell you this. Are you not my work in the Lord? You are the seal of my apostleship. Paul is basically saying, dude, it's obvious that I'm an apostle. It's obvious that God's used me. Look at the church there in Corinth. Look at you guys. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. So all these naysayers are wanting, some proof or like a letter of recommendation. It's kind of like this. When you're looking for a new job and they want letters of recommendation, they want references and all that kind of stuff. You know what the best reference is to go? You want a good job? Work at your current job as hard as you can, and here's what's going to happen. Naturally, there's going to be the numbers won't lie. Your production, you can just bring and say, hey, man, I have some letters of recommendation, but really, the proof's right here. What do you want? You're going for a manager job. You're going in sales. You can just say, I'll give you a couple letters, but here, man, let me just show you my track record. Your track record will speak for yourself. And the exact same thing with Paul. We'd be in football. You want a good contract. Don't say a word. Don't talk about yourself. Just go and make plays. Score touchdowns. You don't have to say a word. And you know what happens? Your stats, they'll speak for themselves. It's exactly what was happening with Paul. Paul, again, remember now, he was in Corinth for 1.5 years, loving on these people, teaching the word faithfully day in and day out, and the people were growing. People were getting saved. There's this mighty work going on. So he's saying, guys, you want to question where I'm at with my apostleship? Just look at the proof. Look at the churches, what's going on here. And he says this, I love it, in 2 Corinthians, you can write it down if you want, you can jot it down in your margin there. 2 Corinthians 3, verse 2 and 3 says this, you are our epistle written in our hearts, known and read by all men. Clearly, you are an epistle of Christ, ministered by us, written not with ink, but by the Spirit of the living God. He's saying, man, you're it. You're the letter. I don't need to write a letter. Look at your lives. Look at the fruit of what's going on, what God's doing in your life. And that's the first exhortation, or the challenge I want to say, and I want to ask you this. Is it clear that you're a Christian? Do you know this? That you are the only Bible that many people will ever pick up. You. At your job. We've talked about this many times out in the community. People won't pick up the Bible. Oh, that's just for you religious nuts, and that's just a bunch of ancient stories. Then they see you, and they go, there's something different about that guy. Why does he already have a smile on his face? How come he's opening the door for me all the time? How come he's in the bathroom picking up trash as unto the Lord? What's wrong with this guy? Why? Your life will be the Bible. And now it will open that person up and go, maybe there is something about that person. Maybe there is a God. I'd like that. I want that. One of the biggest blessings, I think, in ministry is just like Paul was used by God to invest in that church there in Corinth for 1.5 years, and he got to see some lives change. There's nothing cooler than that. There's nothing cooler. I got a call probably a couple of years ago from a guy that I had built a relationship in the locker room with, and really, I think he was a believer, but really wasn't starting to really grow. And we just started doing life together, started hanging out, and he ends up getting a great NFL contract and goes and does amazing things to this day. But I got a call like at 11:30 at night one time. I'm like almost, I'm like, dude, I need to be in bed at 9, bro. I'm an old geezer. I need to be sleeping. Homie calls me and he's just like, hey, bro, can I just let you know, man, just thanks for your investment in my life. My life's completely changed. I'm living this life that I've always desired. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, I'm sweet, but do you understand what's at stake in your life and in my life? Paul's you, and God wants to use you. God wants to use you. I was interviewing a guy just last night, and we were asking, what are you all about? And he's like, man, I want to make an impact in this world. When I leave this world, I want people to go, man, this guy made a difference in this life. That was Paul. And he's saying, hey man, look at the fruit of it. You make the judgment. Can you say that about your life? Can I say that about my life? Verse 3. He says again, my defense, verse 3 of chapter 9. My defense, that Greek word apologia. My defense to those who examine me is this. Do we have no right to eat and drink? Do we have no right to take along a believing wife, as do also the other apostles, the brothers of the Lord, and Cephas? Or, pause right there. Let me cover that real quick. Give me your attention. So, he's saying, how about the eat and drink? Do we have no right to eat and drink? The early apostles, when they were sent out to start going and share the gospel in different places, they would go to different towns, and people would actually invite them into their house. Can you imagine just someone going up and knocking on your door? Yo, dude, I want to tell you about Jesus. Can I, people would actually let them in. They'd serve them food. They'd put them up for a time, and they would help support them. And Paul's saying, hey, is it okay for me to do that? That's fine for me to do that. One thing that we've been blessed with throughout the years, even right now, for you guys that don't know it, is, and it's been hard for me. I'll tell you about it. But God has put on my parents' heart to open their home for us when we came back, and just to say, hey man, you guys take the basement, you guys live here, and we want to be able to be used by God to help out in this process as you guys get going. And it's been huge. It's such a blessing to be able to have that. And so, we're saving money right now, and prayerfully within, the year to be able to have a house of our own. After 22 moves, we're like, yes! It's like, this is going to be great, But to be able to put some roots down and to be able to say, hey, we're here in Omaha. We want to be here. We want to invest, just like Paul did. We want to invest in lives. We want to see lives change. We want to see a complete revolution of God's grace from Omaha, Nebraska to spread throughout the United States. We want to plant. But you know what? If God wouldn't have knocked on their hearts to say, open this up. And it was hard for me. Dude, I'm like 33. It's like, hey, mommy, can I come home? What's my curfew tonight? Oh, goodness. But, that's been a huge blessing. And Paul's saying the same thing, man. Do we have that right? And how about a wife? Don't have the same right as the Lord's brother, James and Jude, or Cephas, that's Peter. That's like a code word for Peter. Don't we have the same right as these cats? These dudes were married. And Paul's saying, yeah, we do have that. Remember when he touched on it in 1 Corinthians 7? A lot of times in some circles of the church, they say, you really want to be a minister, you really want to be used by God, well, you can't be married. You have to, female, male, whatever the case is. That's not biblical. Now, if God gives you that heart, great. He's giving the gift of celibacy. He's giving you that's your desire. Paul said, man, I think that's great, because then you have less distraction and you can really focus on the Lord and be used by Him. But he's saying, but I have that freedom. But you know what? I'm going to give that freedom up. I'm going to give that freedom up, and you will start to see, why is he giving that freedom up? There's a reason. He was also denying the right to be able to be compensated for sharing the gospel, to be supported financially. Look at verse 6. Look what it says. Is it only Barnabas